Hello Australia, welcome to episode 721 of The Couch. We've got a big show today. Let me tell you what's happening. Eloise Mattison will be coming in for a chat, but she's got a couple of songs. Originals, we'll get to hear them very soon. Later on, Talking Entertainment with Alexander Sacosta. We're also introducing someone new to The Couch. Her name is Dr. Paula Smith. She's talking about changing your job environment, applying for jobs after COVID, and how to deal with it all with our very own Nisha. Later on, we talk German Film Festival. It's coming to Palace Cinema and Luna. We're talking to Abby about that one. And Suresh Rashan is in. He's got a brand new job. He's working for a new company called the Spear Centre. We'll find out all about that one. And later, Bradley Holland, otherwise known as Ranger Red, will be on the couch with a very special friend. Stick around. The couch starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. It's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can see it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with Fred and the best in town. You can see it from your house. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. Oh, oh, oh.
Hello Australia, and can I just say at the start of the show, well done Australia. We've voted for a brand new government giving Mr Albanese a chance to be our Prime Minister for 3 years. I voted Labor, as you knew last week. I was only joking, saying I was only joking, you know what I mean. But congratulations, well done, and we look forward to having a brand new government as well in Australia. And can I also say well done to our former Prime Minister, Scott Morrison. Great job. Public service is always something you've got to reward people and say thank you for. So good luck to you, Mr Morrison. But let's get on with the show today. We haven't got a politician on the show today, but we have a doctor. Dr. Paula Smith is a brand new person on the couch today, and talking to her about lots of things is Nisha Seth.
Wonderful, thank you Fred. And it's always a delight to have a new expert on the couch, and we have a presentation skills and leadership communication expert, Dr. Paula Smith. Welcome.
Thanks Nisha, it's my pleasure to be here.
And a lot of us will be watching your presentation today, not to put any pressure on, being a trainer for TEDx as well.
Yes, I've been involved in TEDx for quite some time, and yes, there's always a little bit of extra pressure on me to perform.
Fantastic. Look, I'll share it with you because I'm talking as well, so that's okay. We'll share it. So there's plenty we can talk about at the moment, but what's a great focus to start with, do you think?
You know, I think there's been a lot of talk over the last few months, especially post-COVID, of this great resignation. And it's come out of the United States, but it's actually a myth here in Australia. So about every year, 1 million people change their jobs. And the numbers were very similar pre-COVID to post-COVID. So it's actually a bit of a myth.
So the drivers are not what we think?
No, not always. Well, that's what the stats are saying anyway. And it might change over the next 12, 18 months, but they're very similar numbers at the moment. But what has changed is what employers are looking for when they are employing people now. So I think we have to be mindful of the type of skills that we need to upskill in.
Yeah, and at any point in time, no matter what generation you're in or what industry you're in, there's a high likelihood that you are going to move roles, isn't it? So this is really, should resonate with a lot of our audience, no matter how old they are or what job they're in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think there's a drive as well towards not necessarily technical skills, but there's a drive to the old soft skills. We used to call them soft skills.
Yes.
And but we call them people skills, or I love to call them future skills, because they're all the skills that we need now that we're going to use in the future jobs that we have.
Yeah, and the challenge with future skills is there's not always, a long time to get these skills, right? So you said future, but you said now as well. So what does that mean?
It means we need to prepare now for the future.
Tomorrow.
So we started to unpack, what some of those skills look like. And so if you could imagine, or think back to some of the favourite jobs that you had, so over the years, and the viewers can do this at home as well. So what were some of your favourite workplaces?
Right. Oh, gosh, I've worked all over the place. I reckon the supermarket was a lot of fun when I was younger. I learnt all the different fruits. Sorry for admitting that, Mum.
Now, I'm imagining that the types of places that you imagined just then are the ones where you really got along with the people. or your boss, treated you exceptionally well.
Yes.
So for staff as well as leaders, developing those people skills are actually critical in the workplace. And people skills are things like communication, team building skills, listening skills, even coaching skills, and emotional intelligence skills.
Absolutely, and you can pick so many of those up, can't you, in different environments? Like I mentioned a supermarket earlier, but then it just dawned on me that one of the sayings I learnt there was, there's time to lean, there's time to clean. And that resonates in all my jobs in human resources, for example, working with leaders. You know that if you can respond, you respond straight away, right? And you respect someone and you acknowledge them. So it's so funny how, decades can pass and you still remember the importance.
You can't unlearn them, and they're transferable.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are all the skills that we're sort of familiar with, but in 2022 we're looking for something a little bit different. So we're looking for these future skills, which I mentioned before, and they're things like agility, critical thinking. They're things like communication agility, resilience, adaptability. So these are all the future skills.
Yeah, we hear a lot of these words. I'm sorry to jump in, but what is agility?
Yeah.
Like, what does that actually look like and feel like in the workplace?
So we know what communication skills are, so the ability to be able to communicate with people. But we now have to, in 2022, communicate across many different platforms. So you might be communicating like this, having a bit of a chit-chat, or we might be communicating virtually, running a meeting. We might be communicating in the boardroom.
Yes.
So we have to be able to adapt and be flexible and be able to communicate in all these different situations, as well as face-to-face and digital. And that's actually pretty tricky.
Yeah, it's a change in job design, but as you mentioned before, skill. So what would you recommend for those out there who want to build their future skills or even identify what they are?
Well, I think like communication skills and presentation skills or meeting facilitation skills, they're skills. And sometimes we jump into jobs and we beat ourselves up if we're not good at them. But I think people have to really recognise that they're skills, and anyone can learn the skills, and we shouldn't expect our staff to come on board and just show up with these skills if they've never had the training in them too.
I can see why you work with a lot of clients, because if you reduce that demand and you actually say to yourself, do you know what, it's a skill and I need to learn it, rather than just assuming you have it, I think it makes it a lot easier, right? Is that your approach with clients as well?
Yeah, and it's really sad because it damages their confidence. They're thrown into a situation where they're going, speak at a conference, run this meeting, go and coach a team. And they just practice what they've seen before. And if they fail for some reason, then of course it can damage their future leadership capabilities and definitely their confidence. And it's a bit unfair.
Yeah, you don't want to fall from a height if you don't have to, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got these future skills. What else? Any other, I guess, focuses that you're seeing particularly out in the market?
Yeah, what's really interesting is people aren't running to the universities to get some of these skills, because these are what we talked about now, skills.
Yeah.
So sometimes people think of going to university and it's a 4-year degree, but the speed of business doesn't always align to the 4-year degree curriculum.
Yes.
So universities, progressive universities are starting to recognise this fact and introduce different courses, micro-credentials, for instance, but some educational establishments, I think, need to lift their game and start offering a few more relevant skills. And even the workplaces now, some of the big boys and girls in town are offering these micro-credentials that they can be transferable. Like micro-credentials are like little bite-sized courses that go on their employment record or their university record, and you can just click them depending on what's relevant for your role.
Yeah, love that. I think professional development's so important, right? To not just keep people engaged, but keep them psychologically well as well. So I'm glad you mentioned that. For everyone at home who's watching and thinking, I'd like to find out more, where can they go to either find you or find, I guess, your website?
Very easy to find. So, paulasmith.com.au. So, and if you get stuck, just Google Paula Smith and generally I come up somewhere.
Yeah, and we've also got your training website there, but as we said before, what's going to be really important, because we're going to put up your main website, is you are a whole to some of its parts. You are actually an extraordinary lady that does so many different things, and so it's really important to think about, and thank you, but think about the future of work. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll look forward to you coming. Will you come back?
I would love to come back.
And you can do some training with me. I love your expertise.
Oh, I think you're extremely experienced, but we could all learn. It doesn't matter how long or how great we think we are. There's always room to learn, isn't there?
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Paula, and have a lovely afternoon.
Yeah, thanks.
If you've missed anything at all, of course, you can go to thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page. But I'll pass you back to Fred now.
Thank you very much, Nisha, and thank you to Dr. Paula Smith as well. And you did see the website there, drpaulasmith.com.au. It's just paulasmith.com.au. Please check that out. And she'll be back hopefully next month with another segment. There is a segment I'd love to cover with Dr. Paula, and that is, of course, the one about people moving from homework back to the office. I know it's a big thing at the moment, a lot of mental health issues with that, but we'll talk about that in the next few weeks. If Dr. Paula's happy to come back, we'll do that. Music-wise, thank you, Dr. Paula. Eloise Madison, a lovely 20-year-old. She's a wonderful Perth young talent, music student studying at SAE. Today she's got her own song, centre stage. It's called Highway Goodbye. Here's Eloise.
Telling my heart to take flight. Warning signs at every stop sign. But I kept driving with you until all the warnings were out of you. Passing cars trying to get away cars, but you told me I was only safe in your arms. Ooh, how we were turning off the main road. I was cold, you didn't give me your coat. Thought you were in it for the long haul, but you didn't even care at all. Shouted in the middle of the night on Highway Goodbye. Took me a while before I realized these drives always end in goodbyes. Oh, but I kept driving with you, and I kept seeing all the warnings, and I knew what I had to do. Oh, we were turning off the main road. I was cold, you didn't give me your coat. Thought you were in it for the long haul, but you didn't even care at all. Shattered in the middle of the night on Highway Goodbye. Ooh. I couldn't have stayed. You always drove in the wrong lane. We were headed for disaster, but still you chose to drive faster. I couldn't have stayed, 'cause you told me I wasn't brave enough to leave you, to make it on my own. Oh, we were turning off the main road, and you thought I wouldn't jump out in the cold. I couldn't have stayed for the long haul. There was no future for us at all. Now I'm driving home in the middle of the night on Highway Goodbye. Ooh, oh, said you were in it for the long haul. Highway Goodbye.
Well done, Eloise Madison, and we'll have a chat to her after the break as well. And she's got another song coming up at the end of the show. Time now to talk entertainment with our favourite entertainer. It is Alexander Sacosta. Welcome back.
Thank you, Fred. Always a pleasure to be back.
You have got some interesting stories, and that doesn't include Meghan and Harry, or Meghan and Harry as
Megan.
Meghan.
It's pronounced Megan, that's right.
They're in trouble with Netflix?
Well, you know how Netflix has, for the first time ever, like recorded a reduction in subscribers, so they're essentially losing money.
Yeah.
They decided to then obviously start cutting shows, and one of the shows that was cut was her show that she was producing.
What was her show about?
Well, I don't even know, but they were producing another one with Prince Harry about the Invictus Games. It was going to be like an animated children's show or something like that for her. $140 million is how much both of them have been paid to create
Wow.
shows, and now they're not getting any content. And what I think Netflix wants them to do is, since it's the Jubilee, to kind of give behind the scenes into the royal family. So using their positions or former positions to get that behind the scenes
That
look.
will never
They would see
happen.
Harry there on the screen. But that's the thing, they said it's unlikely the Crown will allow them to do any behind the scenes footage, because
no, I
that's
can
not
imagine.
the way they've ever operated.
Well, the thing is, you're not going to trust them because you don't know what's going to turn out on the TV.
But when I think about it, like, if you've paid that amount of money, you want some quality shows. And I've got some ideas that I think I can pitch to Netflix for them. I say you take, like, instead of Married at First Sight, it's Married at Birthright.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Good. And then you can do, like, instead of the Real Housewives of Orange County, it's the Real Housewives of Windsor. That's the thing, or the Merry Wives of Windsor. And then maybe, like, Love Island with Prince Andrew as the
Yes,
host.
or The King and I. A brand new show of some type of... a cooking show, maybe.
Yes.
Where Prince
Ready,
Harry
steady,
cooks.
cook, divorce.
That's the one. I think it'd be a great program. So basically, $140 million.
$140
what a
million
good salary.
and nothing, no content to
Look,
show
I
for it
reckon
yet.
they'll get something out of it.
Well, they better. If you paid that amount of money and your company's starting to lose subscribers, we want some behind-the-scenes footage and we want it now.
I'll tell you what, it's good money if you can get it. Let's have a talk about Disney. What's happening with the new shows that they're producing?
Fred, streaming services are basically taking over now. So, besides Foxtel, obviously. and Disney Plus is a huge streaming service, and they're actually not required by the government in Australia to create local content, but they've done it on their own volition, which is good, but really they should be under
Well,
a
it
quota.
attracts an audience, doesn't it?
If you're
Which is good.
if you're selling a product here, then you should create content here. So they're creating 9 shows, and one of them is going to be with Rove McManus about what's your Toy Story.
Well,
so
at
he's
least
super
how
excited
many
because
did you
it's been 2
say?
years.
How many are they doing?
They're doing 9 shows.
So one will be with
One with Ro.
Well, at least there'll be 8 that will be successful.
What are you talking about, Fred?
Oh, look, the man's had his time. Look, I love Rove,
We all
but
love
everything he's done has failed.
It must be hard that you kind of your audience changes and then you like.
Do you know what
do
it
you
is?
do?
It's not the audience that's changed; it's the person.
Right.
If Rove came back and did his nighttime chat
Just back
show,
to the classic.
it would work. It's
Yeah.
the fact that he gets bored with that
And wants to do
all these new things. Everything he did after Rove Live
Yes.
flopped.
Yeah.
And you'd have to start wondering, why does it flop? And the common denominator is Rove. People just don't like him in other roles. I think they've stereotyped him.
Probably.
But look,
You
I wish
imagine
him all the
someone as
best.
they were,
And you know what? I'm sure he needs the money. The project's doing
No,
badly
don't worry. He signed a $140 million deal with Netflix.
to cover the other 2. Now, look, fantastic. When does that all happen?
So that's all getting ready to be launched within the next year. So
Now-
lots of shows coming to Disney Plus, local content.
Now,
which
Val
is good.
Kilmer, as most people would know, was in the original Top Gun
was.
with Tom Cruise.
That's correct.
He's apparently doing a cameo.
There's a cameo now. I haven't seen the film yet, but apparently it's very successful for a sequel. And he comes back for just a small cameo, given the fact that obviously he's suffered from throat cancer, so he actually can't physically talk
No.
as he used to. But he's playing the same character again, and they have used technology to recreate his voice for the film. So I'm very curious to actually see how that kind of comes
Yeah, it
across.
will be interesting. And look, it's nice to see Val Kilmer still being able to do
Yeah.
something in movies. He's a great
a
actor.
very talented actor, and to kind of see how his career has moved, it's very interesting.
Look,
He's
the
got a
Top-
documentary coming out as well about
Top
his
Gun
life.
Maverick, I think it's called.
That's correct.
That did really well at the opening a couple of weeks ago.
It's crushing it.
So-
And critically, which is very hard for a sequel. And the thing that's interesting with Top Gun is Top Gun came out 36 years ago. So we had Top Gun, and now we've got Top Gun, 2. And so I assume in 2058 we'll have Top Gun 3. They're not dead.
Now, what did the Kardashians do wrong when it came to Marilyn Monroe's dress?
See, this is interesting and sort of sad in one way, but sort of like doesn't really matter. Kim Kardashian wore to the Met Gala, she wore Marilyn Monroe's dress, the actual dress,
The
that
real
Marilyn
one.
Monroe wore when
Yep.
she sung to the president.
There
That
it is
dress
there.
there, do we see it? The actual dress. Now, it didn't actually fit in her, that's why she's got the stole around her,
Yep.
because they couldn't tie it up fully. Bob Mackie, the designer who actually drew the original dress when he was only in his early 20s, said that it ruins the dress now because the last person to wear it was Marilyn Monroe, and now obviously it's the last person to wear it is Kim Kardashian. So it's like, does it really matter? In one way you can say, well, it's a Hollywood iconography. Do we want to have it kind of desecrated by being just passed around she didn't even wear it the whole time. It was only for when she walked up the steps to the Met Gala. But on the flip side, who really cares that much?
Yeah, I think so as well.
It's a
just
dress.
a dress.
I mean, maybe the dress is cursed though, because I mean, she had an affair with the president, allegedly.
True.
Don't want to be sued by the Kennedys.
Look, I think it's quite. I don't know what really, what's the fuss about?
Yeah, it's
it's a dress. She wore it.
She wore
Does
it.
she own the dress?
No, you can't. It's kept in Planet Hollywood.
So
Yeah.
interesting times ahead with that one. Kate Walsh, is she back in Perth?
Yes. So Kate Walsh is back. Kate Walsh Watch returns. She was spotted at the Opera at Government House. They performed
Clearly,
the Jewel.
there's a
There
bit
she
of
is. So
money
she's back
in it
in
for her.
Perth.
She must be making some money over here.
Maybe she genuinely said when she liked it. This is like the 4th time she's back.
I can't see her being on Destinations WA or Stayed on a Plate or even
Could you
Have a Go
imagine?
TV.
Could you?
But you never know.
imagine?
Look, she's very popular. She was over here, of course, while we were in lockdown, and she
Pandemic. She was here
stayed.
for a long period of time. She did a show, and then she
Theatre
came back
as well.
after that. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we might have a local celebrity. Besides you, Fred.
Well, they were talking about, she was promoting the fact that they wanted to do a movie set here.
Yes, which then got delayed and
And then they got cancelled. The government said, no, it's not going to
it was
happen.
Fremantle.
So you never know. Maybe she's back to start a part B
Well,
of that.
if she is, then she can call me Kate.
Thank you very much. Now, the Logies are coming back very soon in June.
see
We're going to
that.
have the Logies back in
Yes.
Queensland. Now, the funniest thing was, I think they nominated themselves. A lot of people, the
Yeah.
industry nominated a lot of the awards.
Yes.
And it's not owned by Channel 9 anymore.
No.
Or TV Week.
No, so it'll be very interesting. It's still a popular vote, though, so still people go online and vote. But it will be good to see some maybe new faces receiving some. So otherwise, it feels like it's the same people every time.
I was listening to an interview of one of the entertainment people on the
Yeah.
radio, and they were saying that many years ago, when it went to internet voting,
Yeah.
many people would be paid by
just-
the television stations to stay up all night and just keep re-voting.
Are you implying that this award ceremony is rigged?
Oh,
Fred?
I thought it was real.
What's next? The Academy Awards is rigged?
So, I don't know. The jury's out. Alexander Sacosta, what's your website?
AlexanderSacosta.com. Not even .au, I got the .com.
You can't afford the
Legit.
AU.
Not Alexander Sacosta 1, AlexanderSacosta.com.
.com. Well done. You'll be back in a few weeks' time with another entertainment segment.
Always happy.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We shall take a break on the couch and be back after the break. We're going to speak to Eloise Madison. She's a great talent. Talk to her next. Welcome back to the couch. Earlier in the show, last segment in fact, we got to see the amazing voice of Eloise Madison. Now, she's a local artist, singer. Now, she sang a song opening the show, which was, of course, Highway Goodbye. She's on the couch now. We're going to have a quick chat to her. Eloise, thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, you are an amazing young artist. You're only 20 years old.
Thank you.
Am I right there? Now, tell me a little bit about Eloise. How did you get into music?
Well, I started out taking guitar lessons thanks to my dad when I was about 6, and I just fell in love with it.
Who were the idols? Who did you look up to?
Oh, Taylor Swift, hands down. I
Yep.
love her storytelling, which made me sort of fall in love and have a go at writing my own stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you do more originals, not as many covers?
When I perform gigs, maybe more busking things, background style, I'll do covers. But when I do my own shows and things, all originals.
Now, you're studying music as well.
Yes.
Where is that?
I'm studying my Bachelor of Songwriting at SAE, Northbridge, yeah.
Now, that's the School of Audio Engineering, is that
Yes,
right?
that's right.
And what are you hoping to achieve? How many years do you do the course and what happens after that?
It's 2 years. I'm hoping to be a professional songwriter one day and be hired by people to even just write songs for other people and sort of do that as well as also write my own stuff.
Now, as a 20-year-old, you're probably having a lot of fun with your music. Now, you're also working as well, aren't you?
Yes.
What do you do for work?
So I previously worked as an education assistant. I've just started a new job working with the young ones again in early childhood, which is one of the things that I
Do you
love
sing
to do.
to them?
I do. I definitely have a lot of fun
You
with
take
that.
your
We bring out the
guitar
guitar. Yeah, I love
Oh, that's
that.
fantastic. Look, as a singer here in Perth, how hard is it, do you think?
It's very hard, I think, for my demographic. I think a lot of the music is more catered towards boy bands of the rock pub kind of vibes, which is hard to break into when that's not your style. So it's definitely just finding new ways to sort of put yourself out there, do competitions, emails, lots of things, just be your own manager.
We're watching a bit of your clip that you performed earlier in the opening of the show. Tell me your style of music. What would you call it?
I'd definitely say maybe pop and country, sort of a mix between there. Yeah, I definitely like to write a lot about.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now tell me the song that you wrote, Highway Goodbye. How did you get to writing that, and what was the story behind it?
I'd gone through a really bad breakup with someone, and I'd sort of had the picture in my head of like when you're driving down a highway and like you're in the passenger seat and you're
And
with.
you don't want to look back.
And you don't want to look back, but in this particular instance, I was thinking of this person that you're with in the driving, and you can see that you're heading towards a cliff or something, and you know it's going to end in disaster because it's just a mess. So you're like, what am I supposed to do? And then the end of the last chorus, I say that then I jumped out in the cold. You didn't think I would, and now I'm
saved
driving
yourself.
home. So I jump out and I get in another car and I drive away.
That's quite inspirational, isn't it, for other young people as well? You're basically telling people relationships can end,
Yeah.
but you don't have to end. You can carry on. So you
Absolutely.
turn back and you carry on, I guess.
Yeah.
How many songs have you written so far?
A lot. I haven't counted them all, but I've released probably about 8 at the moment, and I've got a new release coming soon. So.
Now, I know you've also got some gigs coming up, some
Yes.
shows. Where can we see you?
So I'm performing at the Perth International Cabaret Festival. So that's hosted at His Majesty's Theatre. So tickets are on sale at the moment. So that's on June 18th at 6:15 in the Dress Circle Bar.
There's your website. Tell everybody to Camera 2. What's the website they need to go to get more info about you?
You can find me anywhere online at Eloise Madison Music, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all sorts of things. You'll find my stuff there.
And now we're talking about you writing your own music. Does it take you a long time to write music?
I think it depends on the situation. If I'm going through something that I really need to express myself in, it's kind of like my therapy in a way. If that's my approach, then it often happens just like this. Sometimes I get a phrase or an idea, picture in my head, and it just sits in my phone or in my notebook, and then I come back to it and work over it. Yeah.
Fantastic, Eloise. Now, at the end of the show, you're going to be performing another song for us. It's called
Free Spirit, yeah.
Tell us where that came from.
That was a moment where I felt very misunderstood. I think I went through a point in my life, sort of that growing phase, and realising that a lot of people, I don't fit in lots of ways, and I don't really think anyone fits in, to be honest. It's the sort of idea we
Do
have
you
in
think
our
you
heads.
have to these days?
No.
Have you accepted you can be what you
And
want to
that's
be?
what I wanted to do. I wanted to say, this is the stuff that really sucks, but also I want to celebrate being a free spirit, because at the end of the day, that's who I am and that's how to be authentic.
What's the old saying? Be yourself, no one does it better.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. Now, can we expect to see an album come out, or has one already come out?
Yes, so I have a new EP coming out, my second EP on June 11th, 4 new songs, and it's called Left to My Imagination.
And what are the songs?
So the first song is Left to My Imagination, and then I have Out of a Movie, Lioness, which is actually released now as my promotional single.
Yep.
It's out now, and then Free Spirit, which I just performed, will also be,
Fantastic.
out to
In
listen to.
5 years' time, when I look at your website, where can you expect to be seen? What would you like to be doing in 5 years when you're 25?
I'd love to be touring. I think I'd love to bring my show to all around Australia and be able to connect with people, and tell them stories.
Obviously, you love your music. If you had to tell people at home, what's the passion about music? What does it do for you? How do you feel when you perform?
It feels me. Like, I grew up being a very shy kid. I was out at home, but not in public. I didn't know how to, I just was really quiet. So this gave me a way to be out in public and to be quite authentic. And I felt, it gave me kind of a lot of courage doing
Fantastic.
that. Yeah.
Eloise, for young people out there, maybe thinking of following music as a career, what do you say to them?
Go for it. Honestly, I didn't think I would be here at all. I just thought one day, I was like, well, let's just have a go and see what happens, and taking every opportunity that comes my way and just, seeing what the next day holds.
So where can we see you? Tell us again, where are you going to be in June?
I'm going to be at His Majesty's Theatre on June 18th at 6:15, and tickets are on sale
Right now.
on my websites. Yeah.
There you go, it's on the screen. Thank you very much. We look forward to you performing Free Spirit at the end of the show.
Yes.
We've enjoyed having you here today. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And we hope you become a star. And Taylor Swift, of course, don't
Yes.
forget. She got you where you are today.
Yes.
Well done, and I really do appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me.
That is Eloise Madison, another young talent here from WA. Check out her song at the end of the show, Free Spirit. We'll take a break now. More of The Couch coming up right after this. Well done. Welcome back to the couch. It's always nice to talk charities, and my good friend Suresh is back in the studio with a brand new job, talking to our very own Nisha Seth. Over to you.
Always a pleasure to welcome a good friend back on the couch, Mr. Suresh Rajan. Welcome.
Good to be back.
What have you been up to lately?
Just recently, I just actually took over a new job, started a new job as a CEO of an organisation up in Heathridge called the Spears Centre. And we do a lot of work around poverty and relief of poverty, trying to help people who are needing of emergency relief. So the organisation has been going for about 40 years, but not a lot of people know about it. And so I'm really trying to get out there and tell people who it is and what it is we do. So doing a lot of work around emergency relief, but it's a couple of things that attracted me about the organisation, and the fact that I felt that this was an organisation that fitted in very nicely with my philosophy around trying to help people, but trying to make sure that they also have the skills. I'm trying to empower them with the skills so that I don't have to help them again.
Create that sustainability in the organisation.
Very much so, and it's about community as well, you know. So what we try and do, we run the services in parallel. We have our emergency relief funds, which we then dispense to people, and we also provide food bank vouchers and food bank boxes of food and so on. That's for people who are doing it really tough. So those are people who are, for whatever reason, unemployed or, you know, homeless, or it may be that they're just going through tough times, particularly in a rough rental market like we've got at the present time. Interest rates on the move up, cost of living on the way up, so we're starting to see greater pressure on our services. So that provides the emergency relief, but concurrent with that, we run also a financial counselling program. So what we try and do is to teach people how to deal with their money. So we give them some money to assist them, give them some food, etc., to assist them, and then teach them how to make sure that they're not going to be in that position 12 months from now or in the future. What I love about the organisation is that very non-judgmental. We don't inquire as to how you got into that position. What we try and do is to say, you need some assistance right now, let's help you with that, and also let's teach you some financial skills about trying to make sure that you're not going to be back in that position in 12 months' time or 24 months' time. So it's very much a case of just saying, we're here to help you, but we're also here to empower you to make sure you're going to have the skills to get by.
Fantastic. So it's a very holistic approach. So in terms of accessing the service then, what does that actually look like?
Look, very simple. We can call by to our offices. We've got offices in Heathridge, in Marangaroo, and in Joondalup. So the Joondalup office currently isn't well stocked at the moment, so we're not doing a lot of work out of Joondalup, but a lot of the work is being done in Heathridge. So simple matter of calling by, ringing up, asking for an appointment, and also accessing us via the web. So we've got inquiry forms on our web, we've got access via our Facebook page, etc. So very simple, just, you know, if people just Google www.thespearscentre.com.au, that'll take them there, and then it's just a process of following the prompts to say, you know, want to get here. Not everyone who is asking for assistance is going to be able to access the web, so that's why we open our offices for them to come in at any time. No need to make an appointment, call in, and then we'll assist you.
Fantastic, Suresh. You are always getting involved in startups as well as organisations like this that have a strong history. So 40 years history, we do have a little bit more time. So maybe just tell us a little bit about the history of the organisation.
Yeah, look, the organisation was founded back in 1980 by a lady named Joy Coleman. And Joy is still with us and is still very much involved with the organisation as a patron and ambassador. She started this as a group of 40 women that gathered at her house and really just tried to assist each other, and it became a neighbourhood centre. And over the years, it then evolved into something that was too big for her house, and she started to look for premises. The local council that got involved provided a house, and remodel that house to suit what she required. And then from there, it's grown to the other offices that exist. So it's very much a case of going from very small beginnings to where it's at now. We rely heavily on groups like Lottery West and others to give us the funding to do all of that work.
That was going to be my next question, is how you keep it going, because 40 years is a long time.
Yeah, and a lot of it is also by donation, so we do get quite a bit of donation, and we, there's a donate button on our webpage, for example, and people can come in and assist us. And often we also look for things like sponsorship. So we run a couple of neighborhood creches and neighborhood centers and so on. So a lot of people who are finding it difficult to manage, say, getting into to get to work or go to study, they're finding it difficult with their children, they'll come along and access the creche facilities. Neighborhood centers, fabulous for engaging people who are around the community.
Wonderful.
So just finding it difficult, or feeling a little isolated.
Sorry to interrupt, Nisha. Quick question. With the cost of living being such a problem now all around Australia, I would assume your services are becoming more valuable and more sought after.
Yeah, very much so. It's the case that we're starting to see that inquiry level start to pick up, and we're requiring more and more income to actually sustain that. So very much a case of, it's when the food bank people the other day delivered all the goods for us to put out to various people, they remarked to me that was what they found most appealing about the organization was the non-judgmental nature. So when you have a non-judgmental nature of the way you do things, you're always going to have significant demand, because it is those people that have fallen through the cracks of other organizations who are then coming to us because we're not judging them for whatever whatever the position they're in. We're just trying to help them.
And I think the education awareness is so important, because I have some clients as well, and Fred knows this, but they go to like Victory Life and a number of other organisations who can only support so much, and you're also providing both humanitarian and development help, right? So you're non-judgmental, but you're also helping people to build their financial skills, for example, so that they can self-sustain and they can eventually obviously move forward with their lives too.
And it's interesting, Nisha, and you would find it in various other places as well, that people who are going through financial difficulty, there is a massive mental health impact on that, and that can flow through to marriage breakdowns, it can flow through to all sorts of issues around children and access to services. So it just has its flow-on effects. So if we can address that at least takes out one determinant of how their mental health is going to be, and that's useful.
Suresh, you are always involved in such interesting causes, but as the CEO of the Spears Centre, we look forward to hearing more from you, and well done on all the meaningful work as well. For those looking to find out more, perhaps donate or utilise the service, where can they go?
Look, simply access it via the web, so www.thespearscentre.com.au, and that's got everything there about the contact details.
Fantastic. Thank you, Suresh. We look forward to seeing you back on the couch very soon.
Thank you very much, Nisha.
If you've missed any of that, of course, you can catch it on the Facebook page on The Couch or our website, thecouch.com.au. But for now, it's back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much, Nisha, and thank you to Suresh. We'll see you soon on the show. The German Film Festival 22 is coming up very, very soon at Palace Cinema and Luna Cinemas. With me to help me on set is Abby, one of our floor managers. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me on this side of the camera for once, Fred.
You're very welcome. We're going to run through the dates. The German Film Festival is starting all around Australia. Can you go through the dates? What's happening in WA? I know it starts here very soon.
Okay, so it will be showing in Perth from the 2nd to the 22nd of June, and then it will be on in Sydney from the 24th of May through to the 19th. Canberra from the 25th of May through to the 19th of June. Melbourne from the 25th of May also to the 19th of June. Brisbane from the 1st to the 22nd of June. Adelaide 2nd to 22nd of June. And it will be finishing in Byron Bay from the 3rd to 19th of June. And you can watch all of it over at Palace Cinemas.
And of course, don't forget, there's about 10 of these fantastic movies. There's also a kids movie as well. There's a group of kids' movies as well they're doing this year. But we thought we'd promote their launch movie, or the special night opening night movie called The Forger. Tell us what that's all about.
Yes, so The Forger is actually based on a true story. So it's based on a young Jewish man. Apologies, although I am German background, I cannot speak much German. I believe it's Kürmer Schonhaus, who's being played by Lewis Hoffman, who has already an amazing, background in film. And it's about this young man who refuses to let the Nazis take away his love and his passion for life. And he learns that he has this really strong knack for forging documents. So he teaches himself all these things, and he helps himself and family and friends and anyone who can escape Nazi Germany with his newfound abilities.
Sounds fantastic. Let's check out the trailer. Then I've got some tickets to give away. Thank you.
Wer fälscht Pässe bei geöffneter Tür? Ich mach das.
Das hier ist eine Kennkarte. Können Sie das Bild auswechseln und den Stempel dann ergänzen?
Ich denke schon.
Gut.
Sie haben hier nur noch ein Zimmer. Der Rest gehört nicht mehr Ihnen. Und Sie können ja auch nicht mehr einladen, wenn Sie wollen. Das wissen Sie auch.
Im Treppenhaus bitte etwas leise sein. Haben etwas empfindliche Nachbarn.
Was denken Sie sich denn dabei?
Sollen wir ins Uniform sein? Uniform?
Herr Schönhausen, Sie haben Ihre Brieftasche verloren.
Ich verliere ständig Dinge.
Dann laufe ich ja nur noch hinter dir her und warte darauf, dass du was verlierst.
Sie wissen schon, dass es in Berlin Frauen gibt, die illegale Juden an die Gestapo verraten. Wenn eines Morgens die freundlichen Herren der Gestapo bei Ihnen an der Türe klingeln, dann würde ich Sie sehr bitten, sich aufzuhängen. Jawohl.
Du guckst niemanden an, außer mich. Riechst an nichts, nur an mir.
Gute Fälschungen sind im Grunde wie kleine Kunstwerke.
Du bist gefährlich für mich.
Mach das nicht. Wir verstecken uns nicht. Doch, wir verstecken uns gerade.
Das, was Sie hier machen, dafür können Sie erschossen werden, das wissen Sie schon.
Das ist Mimikry. Manche Tiere nehmen die Gestalt der Tiere an, die von ihren Feinden gefürchtet werden.
Erzählen Sie den Leuten ruhig weiter, was sie hören wollen. Macht der Führer ja auch schon seit Jahren.
Schnell, 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 as they say in German. That means fast, 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 or quick, quick, quick. Now, that movie as well has Australian subtitles, I had to say that. And it looks like a great movie. Now, opening night's here in Perth. We're going to all go and see it. But if you haven't been to Palace Cinema, you don't know what you're missing. Let's check out some of the footage of Palace Cinema. It looks incredible. Abby, have you been there?
Oh, many, many times for the Rain Square thing. It is just so amazing.
Let's have a look at the Palace Cinema footage, guys. Here it is. If you haven't been there, they've got amazing bar. They've got great seats, leather seats. Look at the lighting there, Abby. There's wine as well.
Not to mention amazing service from everyone who works
They
there.
are fantastic. Kevin and the team here at the Perth Palace Cinema look after you from the day you walk in, or it lasts for days because you do stay there for days. Great movies. Now, Abby, we're going to give away, thanks to our wonderful, wonderful people at the German Film Festival, 10 double passes. What do they need to do to win?
All you have to do is contact 0439 929 929, as you can see on screen, and enter the code word PALACE. And if you supply us with your name and contact details, we might be able to send some tickets out to you.
There you go. Thank you very much to our good friends at Anarchy for giving us those tickets. It is, of course, an SMS competition, so please SMS that number. If you've forgotten it, you didn't write it down, check out our website. It'll all be there. Thank you very much to our fantastic friends at Palace Cinema. German Film Festival 22 starts now. Thanks to Abby.
Thank you for having me, Fred, and I will hopefully see you at the film festival.
You will. Thank you. We'll take a break and be back with more of The Couch right after this.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome back to The Couch. It's always nice to have Ranger Red in the studio. We haven't seen him since last year. He's been very busy, and of course COVID and everything else has kept him very busy. But the Red Zoo is still operating and doing really well. It's as busy as ever for school groups as well. Welcome back, Ranger Red.
Thank you for having me, Fred.
Nice to have you here, and I love your new Ranger Red Blossom, the Ringtail Possum book. Firstly, tell me all about the book, Roger Red.
So the book's actually written about our West Australian ringtail possum, because our friend here today is actually the common or Eastern States ringtail possum. And unfortunately, our ringtail possums here in Western Australia are endangered. The sad fact is that there's two main populations down in Busselton, and if a fire was to go through, it could wipe out one of the populations. Yeah,
isn't that terrible?
It is.
You wouldn't think it'd be that extreme.
Yeah.
So if there was a fire out there in Busselton,
it
they'd be
could
gone.
wipe out one of the populations.
So where else can you see one of these ringtails?
Well, we have them at our zoo. I believe they're at the Nocturnal House at Perth Zoo, and Caversham Wildlife Park have them. And we used to take brushtail possums out, which are obviously larger than that, on our mobile display to help educate about the possums, and that was part of the reason I wrote the book, because we weren't in a position to take out ringtail possums on the road.
Yep. Tell us a little bit about the actual ringtail possum itself. What does it eat? How does it live? When does it sleep?
It's very interesting, because these common ones, or the Eastern States ones, feed largely on eucalyptus leaves, where our West Australian ones feed on the peppermint leaves.
And why is that? Why is West Australian different? Better quality?
Same reason we don't have koalas, because we obviously don't have the feed source. So our possums adapted, but they all live in what I've got here, which is actually called a dray. So they don't live in hollow logs or that like our brushtail possums do. And obviously this is an assisted dray, but it's basically just a big ball of leaves and that they gather up and they make into a dray, which is a form of nest.
Are they nocturnal?
They are.
So it's a special treat to have them in the studio.
It is, yeah.
So, and apart from what they eat, do they bite, and are they hard to look after?
It's really, the thing is, people think that they eat fruit and vegetables, which are healthy for a lot of people. You've got to be careful about their diets, because they're not made to eat those foods. So although that is part of their diet at the zoo, we also have to make sure that we keep up the leaf to them. And not something I'd advise to be kept as a pet.
No, I was going to ask you, can you keep one as a pet? And I guess the fact that they're quite extinct, if they get wiped out through Busselton, if there's a fire, you wouldn't be able to get one easily replaced.
No.
There's not many around. Now, how special are they at Red Zoo?
These are really special because I had worked with them so much when I lived and worked on the East Coast. So then to have them at the zoo, after I got the zoo, and to have them where we can offer the opportunity, you can see I'm stroking her. She's not biting, it's not freaking her out too much. It's obviously making her
they're very quiet.
go and hide. Yeah, try and get her to
Are we
show
able
her
to
face.
get
You want to
her out
show
a
your
little bit?
face?
Oh,
there we go.
Does she just bite you? Do they bite?
Oh, yeah, they can.
I thought that might be the case.
There we go.
Let's not put her on my desk there. I remember the bird that you said didn't fly. The bird that doesn't fly flew, and this will bite.
So
They're
obviously
very cute, aren't they?
they are, and their name comes from that ringtail.
Yeah, how cool is the tail?
Yeah.
Now tell me something. What family do they come from? What's their descendant?
So they're marsupials because they have pouch young. So the young are born like the size of a jelly bean and make their way to the pouch and then feed in the pouch until they grow.
Yeah, and how old is Blossom?
Blossom is 2 years old, and she came to us from Central Coast Zoo in New South Wales.
And is she fully grown now?
Yes, she won't get any bigger.
What, they're about 20 centimetres?
That's a brushtail possum, even a bit bigger when you think of their tail. But if you go down a bit,
about 15
about
centimetres. Wonderful, wonderful pet, but you can't keep one because they're too hard to look after. The best place to see it is at Red Zoo.
Yes.
Now, tell me a little bit about Red Zoo. What's been happening since we saw you last? Any changes?
There is. We now have camels. But I think that'd be too big to bring into the studio.
You can try. If you leave on a Friday, you'll get it here Sunday. It's an amazing place. One of our director's assistants here, Michael, came down and took some footage of your zoo. I hope you knew that he was coming down. Otherwise it'd be copyright now. But look, it's such a beautiful place. Tell us about the zoo for those people who haven't seen. We're looking at some pictures now. There's birds. There's reptiles as well. You've got... what else have we got there? We've got the Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, we've got Tasmanian devils, and we're very close to getting our crocodiles. We're probably about a month away from the enclosure going in. And then once the enclosure goes in, we'll just wait for the department to do their inspection.
I love crocodiles.
And they'll come down from Broome. I'll do a trip up to Broome to go pick them up.
Have you ever sort of been around crocodiles? Have you ever managed them?
Yeah, so when we used to do mobile displays, again on the East Coast, we used to have a crocodile in our display.
Amazing. Now, the hours, if people want to come down to Red Zoo, it's open.
Yes,
it's ready
every
for
day of the
business.
year except Christmas Day. 9 to 4, Monday to Fridays, unless it's school holidays, and weekends and public holidays, it's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And for those people who don't know where you are, and there's only about one person in Perth, and the people over east are coming back to Perth for holidays, a great place to bring the kids. Tell us why the kids really love it, because I love the zookeeper for a day thing as well that you do.
Because we're hands-on and we're interactive, and we give them the ability to get close to nature.
Fantastic. And what's the address?
We're on One Sanctuary Drive, Pinjarra, which is just behind the Pinjarra Golf Course off Pinjarra Road.
Now, school holidays are coming up again.
Yep.
What's happening the next school holidays? Anything exciting?
Hopefully the crocodiles will be in place, and we'll be able to offer the opportunity to have a photo with a crocodile.
I tell you what, I've played with a small one in Sri Lanka, and they had it on my head and that. The big ones just scare me, hey? But, you know, I've always been told with crocodiles, is it true that if you stand in front of them, you can actually, as long as you swerve as you run away, they can't see you? Or is it too late once they eat you?
No, it's too late once they eat you.
Thanks, Red. You go in front of me, you'll be fine. Now, Red, this book is fantastic. Ranger Red presents, of course, Blossom, the Ringtail Possum. Where can we get the book? Because I know people out there saying, I want this for my kids.
We stock them in the zoo's gift shop. I know some of the public libraries around Perth do have them. Some school libraries have them. But I'm happy to donate that one for you to do a giveaway.
Fantastic. And can I ask what they're worth as well for people who want to get them?
$15.
Not bad at all. And all the money goes to the zoo and the running of the zoo. And can I just say to people as well, Red doesn't get any government funding, so he funds it all himself. So as you can see, he doesn't eat. He doesn't eat a single thing. He's like me. How we survive is just it's just a tragic story. Red, if people want to donate money or support or sponsorship, are you willing to take people on board? Can people contact you?
Yes, definitely.
Go through your website?
Yeah, and give us a call and make an appointment and
Ranger Red is part of the zoo as well as being one of the co-owners. So he's one of the people that needs your support, and he'll talk to you directly. Can you tell us again, just before we go, what does it cost to feed the animals on a daily or weekly basis or monthly?
So to open the zoo every day costs us approximately $2,000 a day.
That's a lot of money.
Yep.
That's a lot of money. So if you're out there and you're someone like the Spud Shed and you'd like to get involved, or maybe you're Coles, or maybe you're one of those pet barns and Bunnings, anybody, get involved in RSPCA as well. Maybe you can help out as well in some way by donating some of your food for the animals. Red, was there anything we forgot to talk about today?
No, just as I said, the exciting news that the crocs are coming.
I can't wait. I reckon you need to bring them in here before they grow too big. And I promise I will run for my life. Ranger Red, thank you very much for being here today.
That's okay. Thanks for having us, Fred.
What's the website?
www.red@redzoo.com.au.
Wrong. It's redzoo.com.au. I always catch him out. He's too busy being a star writing these books. redzoo.com.au. Please go and support him. He's a wonderful West Australian. It was the former Peel Zoo, for those people saying, what is this place? Red Zoo, Ranger Red. You can't miss him. I've been told they've seen you on the counter behind the ice cream fridge. I can't wait to go and join him there. Is there any jobs going? Probably not. Thank you very much. Always wonderful to have you here, and you're a great West Australian as well. That is it for the show today. Thank you to all the crew. Thank you to our director. Thanks to everybody who appeared today. We look forward to episode, I think it's 722 next week. Looking forward to it. We're going to leave you today with a young lady who performed earlier on. Her name is Eloise Madison. She's only 20 years old. This is her own song. It's called Free Spirit. And as we say, thanks for voting Labor. And you did a great job, and we'll see you next week.
Feels like I've got so much to say, but they won't give me the time of day. And I like the company of my own headspace, but that's useless out there anyway. And empathy seems to be the currency these days, and my mind's slow and theirs is all gone. So tell me, where did I go wrong that you feel so inclined to ignore me? But maybe I was meant to be this way, chronic overthinker, but I like what I create, and understanding is all I crave. But until that day, I'll run where there's no place to hide. Make a bed of daffodils under the night sky. Peace of mind, find a magical world living in it. Nothing more than a free spirit. Feels like I'm always gone with the wind, and I know it's always what they call me. But tell me, why those who claim to care in the name of love suddenly run at the first sign of fear? But maybe I was simply born this way, a chronic overthinker, but I like what I create, and understanding is all I crave. But until that day, I'll run when there's no place to hide. Make a bed of daffodils under the night sky. Peace of mind, find a magical world within it. Nothing more than a free spirit. Whoa, oh, and I ain't the feeling that I love more than everybody else, and I ain't the feeling like I'm always on the top shelf, but I'd rather wait in my lonely than ever be somebody that they say, oh, she'll understand. After all, she's an empath, 'cause they broke my bones without a second glance. And so I ran where there was no place to hide. Made a bed of daffodils under the night sky. Tears I cried to find a magical world, not a care to give, to be nothing more than a free spirit.